I did a quick trawl for Lenten cartoons this week, and I came across one which really caught my eye. And in it, Jesus is sitting on a stone in the wilderness with an angel stooping towards him. And the angel has a towel draped over one wrist and a waiter's order pad and a pen poised. And Jesus has a speech bubble which says, "Really? Well, okay, I'd like a cheeseburger and fries." And the angel's speech bubble says, "Would you like a drink with that?" And two little human characters feature in the bottom of the picture. One saying, "So the angels really do wait on him then?" And the other exclaiming, "After 40 days in the wilderness, I'd go for the super meal deal." Well, it's certainly a different take on Jesus' wilderness experience. And if you've given up fast food for Lent, I do apologise. The reading that we hear from Mark's Gospel, set for this first Sunday of Lent, is in true Markan style, brief, and it gives very little detail. In 7 short verses, we move rapidly from Jesus' baptism to his wilderness experience and on to the start of his ministry. And there's no description of the nature of the temptation that Satan puts before Jesus, or any clue about how Jesus handles the tempter's taunts that help us understand or even begin to appreciate the struggle that Jesus had during those wilderness days and nights. What we can discern is that it's the same Spirit that confirmed Jesus' identity in his baptism that drives him into the wilderness. And we notice that Jesus was not entirely alone. He had wild animals with him and angels attended him. We know no more than that. There is a thought that links Mark's mention of angels as a way of drawing a likeness between Jesus and Elijah, who was plied with food by angels when he was in the wilderness, having fled from Jezebel in the first book of Kings. But whatever Mark's reason for including the angels alongside the wild animals in his wilderness account, the fact that he does so requires our attention. Lent calls us to consider the wild animals of our journeys as we mirror aspects of Jesus' own time in the wilderness. We're called to pray, to fast, to practice in acts of self-denial. We might give something up. We're certainly called to reflect on the things that we need to change in our lives. And in essence, we immerse ourselves in spiritual practices that help us open our souls and our hearts and our minds to God. But we've had nearly a year of living amid a global pandemic where coronavirus has enforced lockdowns and isolation and prolonged times of fasting from so many of the activities that were once normal, everyday occurrences. For many, the past 11 months have seemed like a perpetual wilderness, where going without, suffering moments of great loss, and making huge sacrifice have been part of the lived experience. You may be tired of solitude and introspection. So maybe this Lent is a time when we can add to our usual approach and focus the angels both in Jesus' wilderness wandering and our own. Mark's account suggests that the angels were there with Jesus from the start of that 40-day journey. They attended him, loving him, supporting him, and perhaps even reminding him of God's love for him. And so in our wilderness wandering, we are never alone. Whatever our fears, God promises to be with us. And God's presence is tangible in those who come to and attend to us in our daily experiences. And we may even call them angels. I wonder what your wilderness angels look like. I don't imagine they have long white robes, polished halos, or rustling wings. They probably don't have a towel draped over one wrist and a waiter's order pad and pen either. The likelihood is that we may not remember them by their appearance at all, but by their actions. The kindly neighbour who looks out for us, reminding us that we are part of a community. The one who takes the time to call and listen and lighten a moment of loneliness or fear. The anonymous random act of kindness bringer. The messenger bringing words of love and hope, or who displays empathy and reassurance in our doubt and wrestling. And we can add too the delivery driver, the store worker, the healthcare employee, the vaccinator, the stranger who smiles and lightens the day, and other angels who show up in unexpected moments as guides and companions on our journey. More often than not, our angels are simply the people who are willing to walk with us in our own wilderness moments, and they shape them. And our angels are something to be thankful for in these difficult times. They help remind us of the grace and the goodness and the generosity of God. God is the sustaining power in all things, even in the wilderness of our lives. So as we continue our Lenten journey, however hard it may be this year, let's try to keep our spiritual practices going. Let's openly acknowledge our fears and regrets before God. And let's look for the angels who accompany us along the road. Jesus was in the wilderness 40 days, tempted by Satan, and he was with the wild animals, and the angels attended to him. Amen.